Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, a senator, of course, representing Kogi Central, has been quite vocal about allegation of sexual harassment against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. She submitted a petition to the Senate accusing Akpabio of sexual harassment, abuse of office, and obstruction of her legislative functions. However, the Senate rejected her petition, citing procedural errors. According to Senate rules, a senator cannot present a motion signed by themselves, and Akpoti-Uduaghan had signed her own petition. Additionally, the matter is already before a court which makes it sub judice and cannot be entertained by the Senate. Despite these, Akpoti-Uduaghan resubmitted her petition, this time through a constituent from Kogi Central. Furthermore, she has been suspended from the Nigerian Senate for 6 months. This decision was made after the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Code of Conduct found her guilty of misconduct and violating Senate standing rules. As part of her suspension, Natasha will face the following penalties with immediate effect. Now, she will be suspended from all legislative activities starting from March 6th, 2025, and of course, quite a number of other outlined conditions there. But to, of course, bring us up to speed on this development, I'll be bringing on our guest, our first guest for tonight, Neda Imasuen, the chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics and Public Petitions. He joins virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you so very much. Good evening.
All right, good evening. It's great to have you join News Central. Now, let me, of course, start by asking you to just take Nigerians through the prayers of your committee as regards the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti. What are the conditionalities?
Well, in a nutshell, what happened today, what happened yesterday, was based on the activities that took place on the floor of the Senate on the 20th of February of 2025, where the distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti was reassigned to another seat, which she vehemently refused to obey, and that led to a situation in the Senate that was considered unbecoming of a senator. And based on that, another senator moved a motion on the 25th to complain about the behavior of the distinguished senator, and asked that on this motion, and asked that the behavior that occurred on the 20th be revisited and considered for disciplinary action. The motion was then referred to our committee of Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition to investigate into that action. And that's what we did. And the committee sat. All parties involved were invited to come and give a position on it. And the distinguished Senator Natasha did not appear. So we went on to deliberate, and then we came up with what was presented as the recommendation of the committee to the floor today.
All right, so you said that the committee did sit and the distinguished senator did not appear.
That's correct.
Did she give any reason why?
No, she didn't appear, and so she didn't give any reason. But the only thing I can tell is that she her lawyers sent an interim order to my office. We were already seated to hear the petition. I just came to the office to pick up my copy of my constitution when my secretary gave me a letter from from a lawyer, and when I went to the next page, I realized that it was an interim order. And so I knew, therefore, because we were waiting for her to come, I knew as a result that she wasn't going to appear because she may have been advised by her lawyers not to attend, and indeed she did not attend, despite waiting for about an hour for her. So I would presume that that is the reason why she did not attend. And I also have to state that the notice was given to her, which she acknowledged, and the notice of the hearing was also announced on the floor of the Senate. The time and place of the hearing was also announced. So she was well aware of the sitting of the committee.
All right. Now, just to backtrack a bit, why was a petition rejected in detail?
Well, the Senate is guided by the standing rules of the Senate, and that standing rule says that you cannot present a petition as a senator or of yourself, and that petition is signed by yourself. If you do that, then that petition will not be accepted. It would have come defective. And that's exactly what she did. And so it wasn't ripe, or for us, it wasn't something we deliberate on because it came defected. And I will also tell you that today, she also came to the floor with the same petition, having realized that she made an error in bringing a petition signed by her about herself, and have that petition signed by another person, which was accepted and referred to our committee as well. So you can understand, therefore, that even though she didn't think that her petition should not have been rejected, but she may have gone back to read the rule books and then realized that, yes, she ought not to have signed her petition.
All right. Let's talk about the conduct of Senator Akpoti Natasha. Even though we know that part of the reasons for, her suspension was misconduct and also violating some of the Senate standing rule. Prior to this issue on ground, how would you describe the conduct of Senator Akpoti Natasha on the floor of the House?
Well, if you read, or if you are seized with the report that was submitted today, which the Senate as a whole deliberated on and took action on, you will know that the Senate as a whole agreed that her behavior was unbecoming of a distinguished senator, and is a behavior that the Senate consider to be unacceptable, and the behavior that the Senate consider that has brought the Senate as a whole to disrepute.
Okay, you said unbecoming. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. You said unbecoming. I would like you to be more specific. Is in what areas? Because from what we saw, she was just trying to voice her concerns and reservations. So can you be a bit more specific in the areas as regards her being unbecoming?
Yeah, because the Senate rules gives the President of the Senate, the presiding officer, the prerogative to assign and reassign seats of senators. It's a function that he has exercised in the past, and in this case, also exercised not just on Senator Natasha, but under other senators whose seats were also reassigned. And when that is done, a senator is supposed to obey that order. But she flagrantly refused it and adamantly refused to move to the new seat. And she was raising her voice and pointing her fingers at the presiding officer in the glare of the whole Senate and the visitors who were at the gallery. And some of the visitors were young students from the high schools who have come to observe the sittings of the chamber. And so we just believe that that behavior was unacceptable. Again, despite the fact that other senators had gone to her to ask her to take it easy, but she wouldn't listen, and she continued in a very destructive manner. So the Senate considers in its wisdom that that behavior was unbecoming of a distinguished senator.
Senator Imasuen, for some Nigerians that are, of course, following this issue, they feel that the action of the Senate, particularly in handling this matter, seems to be a ploy to silence her. How do you react?
Silence her from what? I mean,
the suspension? For instance, the suspension.
Yes, silence her. No, silence her from what?
Maybe intimidate or silence her. For some Nigerians, they feel that way.
Yes, so what are we silencing her? What is it that we're preventing her from doing or not doing?
For instance, the suspension, and then the issue of rejecting the petition initially. And for individuals watching, some might feel that maybe it's just a ploy to discourage or maybe silence her on this matter.
Well, I would disagree respectfully, and I would disagree because the application of that order was not tailored towards her or any particular senator for that matter. It's a standing order of the Senate, and we are supposed to be to abide by it. And every senator, the first thing you are given when you come to the Senate is that red rule book, which regulates the conduct of senators in the chambers. And so I wouldn't say or go as far as to say that the application of a rule or a general rule is a specific attempt to silence anyone. I wouldn't say so, because it wasn't.
What is the Senate's stand generally on issues of harassment, particularly when it comes to gender, equality and all of that? What's the stance of the Senate on issues generally as this?
Well, the stand of the Senate is the stand of the law of the land. Harassment of any sort should not be tolerated, and the Senate indeed do not tolerate it. We have 4 female senators in the 109 Senate, and the remaining 3 of our distinguished senators were on the floor and on the day of this incident, and they all got up to try to pacify her, not to exacerbate the situation beyond what is necessary, but she wouldn't even listen to them. But if you were to speak to these other senators, I'm sure that the issue of harassment does not exist in the Senate amongst the senators. You must understand that the position of the senator is a very high position, and we don't see man or woman or treat a man differently from how you would treat a woman. When we are in the Senate, even the issue of parties don't even play. As the Senate gets older, there's a lot of familiarity among senators, and so we all become like a family. regardless of parties and tribes and wherever you come from, and eases the tension at at most times in the Senate. I don't, in my opinion, see an issue of harassment of any sort that is directed at the female senators on the floor.
What should Nigerians expect maybe in the coming days or weeks on this matter?
What would they expect? I mean, today the Senate came with a resolution and they suspended her for 6 months, and so that is it. So Senate is back to normal, and the business of the Senate continues. What is going to happen outside the Senate is not within the control of anyone, and it's within the prerogative of any senator, and we hope that such behavior will be such that is expected of a senator.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Senator Neda Imasuen, Chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics and Public Petition. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
All right.